Dave Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. So, another day of work over and done with. I tell you what, if I was to ever start a business, especially a trade business, anything in construction, the first fucking people I would hire are Filipinos. Like half the crew I'm working with now, and I get along with Filipinos anyway. For some reason, I always get along with Filipinos. They're my favorite Asians. My best mate growing up was a Filipino. Actually, two of them. One was half Filipino as well. They're just the fucking best. But these dudes, I swear to God, they're the hardest working, no bullshit, just fucking happy, just get on with the day, work your ass off quietly with a smile. It's fucking unbelievable. And these guys are really fucking working as well. These guys are arched over, bent down, crouching. They're like their backs are sore. I'm down there for like 2-3 minutes and I'm fucking in downward dog pose trying to stretch it out. These cunts are fucking hunched over for like 4 or 5 hours straight. It's unbelievable. And I was speaking to one of them and he's full Filipino. He's been in Australia for like 6 years. He said before he got to Australia, he was working in Saudi Arabia for 8 years. And he said it wasn't very fun. He said he was getting worked to the fucking bone. And if he's saying he was getting worked to the bone, then they were working him to the bone because he just works himself to the bone just naturally. No complaining though as well, which is astounding to me. There's another guy, he's an Australian Indian dude. He has not stopped complaining. He's the slowest, worst worker there, and it's just been absolutely non-stop complaining. He's injured. He's got a stomach ache. He's not getting enough money. He's not getting enough money. He's getting too much money, I can tell you that right now. But everyone else in my crew, besides the supervisor, is an immigrant. It's actually really hard work. It's back-breaking work. I don't think I'm going to last longer than like 6 months in this because the wear and tear on your body is just not worth it at fucking my age. I'm literally stretching in the mornings and at nights now. I need to stretch everything just so I don't get injured. I can't afford to get injured. But I'll tell you this, if there's any fucking racists out there in Australia, and there could be a few, I'm pretty sure there's a couple, the people building this country now are fucking immigrants. This site, this is like one of the biggest projects in Sydney, and you just can't get a whitey to fucking work on it. There's like maybe 10 fucking whiteys on site. All the crane operators, the crane crew are white, Australians. The form workers are like Greeks and Italians. The fucking concreters are Maoris and Islanders. The waterproofers are Filipinos and me. It's all immigrants of some descript. If it was just left up to like white Australians to do this shit, nothing would be getting built. Even with this high pay, there's just no appetite for it. All the Aussie fucking tradies are on residential, I assume. They're not on the big projects. I tell you what's been an interesting side effect from having a job is I'm fucking going out to gigs. I went to a gig tonight. I fucking worked from 6:30, got home at 6:30, ate, left at 7:15, drove to the train station, caught the train into the city, did a fucking gig, came back, now I'm doing the podcast. But a great side effect is, for starters, I'm doing more gigs because I'm like, I have to keep gigging. Otherwise, I'll get into like one of those ruts. I'll just be tired all the time. I'll start making excuses. I'll sit at home, blah, 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 you know? But this job has like pushed me. I'm like, all right, I've got to get out and fucking gig. And the thing is, I'm so fucking exhausted when I get to the gig that I just have been doing whatever the fuck's on my mind at the time. So I'm trying a lot of new material and I really don't give a fuck about like offending anyone anymore because I'm just too exhausted. So I'm doing some hardcore shit and it's been fucking going great. So comedy's been enjoyable since I started this job as well. It's been 2 weeks. Has it been 2 weeks? Yeah, this is the second week of working. So that's been good. So I'm fucking actually developing more material than I was without a job. But this is like early days. The work is actually very fucking difficult because you're just bending down all the time. You're on the ground, you're kneeling. I bought these fucking knee pad things and I wore them today and they are fucking worth every cent I paid for them. They were $85, but they're gel insides and you can kneel down and it just feels like heaven on your knees. And a listener of the podcast gave me a fucking sweet little old timers tip. Scotty the Fraz. He said an old timer when he was working on sets in LA, like long days, he said an old timer said to him, get 2 pairs of shoes, 2 different pairs of shoes, and alternate them every day so your feet don't get used to the one set, so you don't get like fucking locked in. And that's a great bit of advice because I know that fucking happens. And I do have 2 pairs. I bought one and the job gave me a pair before I started. Anyway, let's fucking wrap today up because I am exhausted and ready for fucking bed and keen as mustard to get fucking on the tools tomorrow. Just get me on the fucking tools, mate. Anyway, that'll fucking do it for today and I'll see ya the fuck later.